One of the biggest struggles in life is comparing yourself to others. We often think, why is she so successful and I am not? But we don't try to understand that her path and mine aren't the same. Remember, if a fish wanted to fly like a bird, it would spend its entire life believing it wasn't good enough, even if it could swim across the entire ocean. These days, because of social media, the habit of comparing ourselves has become even worse. We see someone else's success and begin to feel small in our lives. We forget our own talents. This kind of thinking slowly drives people to sadness and despair. That SY Today story is for anyone who has ever felt like they will never be as good as them. Listen carefully, because every line in this story can change the way you think. There was a small village near a city, and next to that village was a large, beautiful forest. In that village, there lived a boy named Ethan. He was a hardworking and kind boy, but he had one habit that made him feel sad all the time. He was always comparing himself to others. When he saw his friend Liam always getting the best grades in class, Ethan would think, if only I were as smart as him. His neighbor, Ryan, was very rich, so Ethan would think, if only I had as much money as him. Even if he saw someone running fast, he would think, why can't I run that fast? These thoughts made Ethan feel more and more miserable. He couldn't concentrate on his studies, and he didn't enjoy doing anything. He kept thinking, I'll never be like them. One day, a wise old man visited the village. Everyone called him Grandpa Joe. He always offered helpful advice, and people loved listening to him. Ethan approached him and said, Grandpa, I work really hard, but when I see someone doing better than me, I feel really sad. I feel like I'll never be like them. Grandpa Joe smiled and said, come to the oldest tree in the village tomorrow morning. You'll find all your answers there. The next morning, Ethan went to the tree. Grandpa Joe was already waiting for him there. He said, look around carefully. What do you see? Ethan looked around and said, Grandpa, there are so many different trees. Some are tall, some are short, some have lots of fruit, and some don't. Grandpa Joe smiled and said, now think, if this apple tree compared itself to the coconut tree and said, why am I so short? Or the coconut tree said, if only I had sweet fruit like the apples, what would that look like? Ethan laughed and said, that would look really silly, Grandpa. Then Grandpa Joe asked, well, now tell me, how do you feel about this whole forest? Ethan replied, I feel it's so peaceful and beautiful. Everything seems just right. Grandpa Joe said, that's just how life is. Every tree in this forest has its own strengths. And in the same way, every person has different strengths. The apple tree produces sweet fruit, and the coconut tree is tall and strong. They're different, but both are important. Then Grandpa Joe took Ethan near a pond. There were many fish swimming in the water, and a little farther away, a bird was flying in the sky. Grandpa Joe said, now imagine if the fish said, if only I could fly like a bird. Would that be true? Ethan said, not at all. Fish are meant to swim, and birds are meant to fly. Grandpa Joe smiled and said gently, then why do you want to be like someone else? You have your own path. You have many good qualities too. Maybe you just don't see them yet. Find your strengths and move forward with them. After hearing Grandpa Joe's words, something changed inside Ethan. He realized that everyone is different, and comparing yourself to others only brings more trouble. From that day on, Ethan stopped comparing himself to anyone. He began to focus on his own talents and his own work. Gradually, his self-confidence returned. Life began to feel fresh and exciting again. A few years later, thanks to his hard work, Ethan started his own business. He became an inspiration to the entire village. Whenever someone asked him, how did you become so successful? He would smile and say, never compare yourself to others. If a fish tries to fly, it will always feel like a failure. But if you focus on swimming, it can own the entire ocean. Remember, the sun and the moon don't rise at the same time, but both are important. Find your own path, follow it your own way. That's when true success comes.